Hold up. Wait a minute. Bruh. Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock, I rock, I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, chit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty. Exposing the industry. Unsolved mysteries. Sticking to reality. Fair use commentary. Talking about cults. Trying to get results. Exploring hopes. Exploring, researching, debunking, investigating, being nosy, super nosy, being messy, being shady. Rabbit hole news. That's me, the chick with ADHD, unmedicated but quite educated. Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop some drop 'em. Drop 'em. Drop 'em. Drop 'em. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop 'em. Drop 'em. Drop 'em. Drop 'em. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like. Hit that like. Let's go. Let's go. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Oop. Hi, everybody. I'm like muted. Hi, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Wait for the people to get in here. Oh, my goodness. My hair's all crazy, y'all. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Happy New Year's. Day 28 of January. It is Wednesday. Welcome. Hey, everybody. Somebody said finally rabbits on time. You don't say that. Don't say that. I am on time. I'm on time. I'm on time. I'm on time. The start time changed so much one time. I thought my phone was broken. No, don't say that. See, why you guys got to call me out? I don't listen. I don't appreciate the call outs. I don't appreciate the call outs, but I'll permit it because you guys are my subscribers. Only because you guys support me. Only because of that. Other than that, no, never. Never that. Welcome, guys. Welcome. You guys always have to call me out. Welcome. Just working, ready to go. Welcome. Well, shout out to you. Hope you have a great work day. Shout out to everybody. Hey, Bossy, how are you? Shout out to you. Thank you. Shoot for the stars. How are you? Good morning, beautiful coneja. Happy New Year's. Yes, Happy New Year's. What's the next holiday that's coming up? Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, sorry, I forget the order. I don't have my calendar up in here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody. You know what? Why you got to call me out? Why you guys got to be so truthful and rude to me? I try, man. I try. You know, I take a shower. I keep up with my hygiene. That's what happens. I try. Thank you. Yo, you guys are hilarious in here. Thank you, guys. Happy New Year's and happy Valentine's Day in like 2 weeks, I think. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, beautiful day. Hope your Valentine's is wonderful, even though it's like not even near there quite yet, but whatever. You said I was about to start twerking. That's my jam. I'm so happy that song does it for you. Well, thank you. Well, we're just waiting for the people to get in here. Good morning, guys. Good morning. We got some stuff to get into. Definitely got some stuff to get into. So we got to talk about Michael McKee. Now, one of the things I've been doing with Michael McKee, and I've noticed it, I keep calling him, it's the Tepe murders. He's the person accused, Michael McKee is. But I keep, for whatever reason, my mind keeps putting Michael Tepe. I don't know why. And they're like, there's no relation, right? Clearly. But my mind just kind of like puts those two together. I'm not really sure. So I apologize if there's any typos. I've been doing that and I don't even know why. Okay. The other thing we're going to talk about Melissa Gilbert and sweet Tim. I talk about Melissa Gilbert and sweet Tim. I'm only using her words. She said he's sweet. It just makes you want your teeth will rot as far as how sweet this man is. Walk on water kind of sweet. Okay. And then we got to talk about Nick Reiner and other information that's coming about Nick Reiner in that whole situation. You said no, sweet. She sounds insufferable. Well, the lady, she's gonna support her man. She's got to do what she's got to do, right? And by the way, please note, are we still? Yes, I just said Happy New Year, Happy New Year's, Rojo. Yes, it is still New Year's. Thank you, appreciate it. So we're gonna get right to it now. Before we get right to it, because and let me just say this: like I've been noticing a couple things that I noticed. First of all, these are not on the topic line. They might be later on, but not today. So side note, because our topics are only 3, so it's not too heavy. But so Ray J is like, I don't know, he's got like 5 days to live or something like that. And he's like wanting, he's changing his life. He's got all kinds of failures going on. What is going on with Ray J? We've talked about Ray J because Ray J is such a character, and I'll be honest with you. It is so hard to take that man serious. So we do have to detour a little bit to that. Ray J say he's got like 5 or 3 days to live or something like that. And he's got like all kinds of stuff. Now, no joke, right? If this man is really going through it, I hope that he gets the care and treatment that he needs. But I never really know. I hate to put it this way, but I don't ever really know when to take him serious because he does so much stuff that it's so hard to even like, I don't know. How do you take someone like that serious? That's what I want to know. You said, what isn't going on with Ray J? Yeah, he said he's got like 3 or 4 days to live. Ray J messed up on something. Well, I don't know if he's just trying to detour from like the recent news. Remember, on New Year's Eve, not New Year's, it was Thanksgiving. He pulled a gun, and he did it on live. Okay. And this was when he was visiting Princess and his children. And then he was arrested. I believe he had to go to court for that. There was so much going on with that guy, in terms of that. But the thing about Ray J, it's like I said, I never really know to take him serious. Like, are you trolling us? And that's the sad part. He's kind of like that guy that, I hate to put it this way, but I hope that he's okay, but I don't ever really know to take him serious. Man, these ads are ridiculous. So Ray J claims he doesn't have long to live amid health battle. 2027 is a wrap for me. So he's got like some lung issues, he's always had some stuff going on. And I think it's a combination of things. You said Ray J was just released from the hospital with antibiotics for pneumonia. People die of pneumonia. Yes, they do. But typically when that happens, it's really kind of like, and I'm just thinking out loud, if you've ever had anybody in your family or something like that that has died of pneumonia, that it's typically it's kind of like sudden, it's like bouts of, pneumonia. Walking pneumonia is very dangerous. Pneumonia is very, contagious. Like you definitely want to take care of yourself. So if you have asthma and then it's like pneumonia or something like that, you definitely, I had a close family member that, died. She had asthma, and then she got the pneumonia. And so it exacerbated that. It's a real thing. Right. But I don't think that like you're already putting a year date to this. Like we just started 2026. Happy New Year's. So I don't know what this means. Does this mean that he's not planning to take care of his health? Does this mean that he's just going to do what I mean, I don't know, man. And not a year later. Well, And that's why I said it's so hard for people to take this man serious. And what is so sad about Ray J is like he has had multiple mental health crises online. Like I'll never forget that one year where, I think he like wanted to self delete. He was going through a lot of stuff, right? And I truly believe that Ray J is somebody who's been through a lot in the industry, both as a child and as well as an adult. And then, getting in the mix with the Kardashians, and all that ish. I mean, there's something about the men that mess with those women. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. It's like you're asking for a death wish, or you're asking to be just not okay for the rest of your life when you mess with those women. Anyways, allegedly, in my opinion. But he's done a lot, and it's just no joke. He says one of the most common things people die of in my ICU. Flu is no joke, by the way. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is like you don't really want to play with stuff like this. You said how many people in Diddy's circle died from pneumonia? I don't know. Well, Kim Porter, if you believe that, allegedly. I don't know how I feel about that. You said I was joking. These people that pass from it make me question, but a regular schmegular person like me, okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't really want to put something out like that. I've had walking pneumonia and it's no joke. I was fine for a minute, then going to the ER by the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. It's like you don't really kind of put out a year. And so that's what I have to kind of wonder. Are you saying that? Are you trolling us? If he continues with this behavior, and what I mean is that Ray J doesn't take care of himself. Ray J goes live. He's with this woman who, like, I don't know, man. She just, let me be very nice, but I don't want to be. This woman, she's like the side chick, right? Because I don't even think he's fully divorced from Princess. And this woman has like, y'all remember back in the day when Snapchat used to do those like face Snapchats where you were like crying all the time? She kind of looks like she's crying all the time, right? And, he's always drinking when he's around her. And I'm not, these are two consenting adults, whatever they do. Ray J is no child or whatever. But Ray J is consistently around people that have enabled that kind of behavior and don't really cut him off. And they really follow him for clout. Now, Ray J has money. Ray J's not a stupid guy. Like, he's been able to advance and get himself into deals regardless, and on top of all this reckless behavior. So he's not somebody that you could be like, oh, he's smart. The man is a businessman, and he's got this thing where he's been able to elevate himself using social media, this trolling behavior that he has, and has been able to advance himself to make money off of that. He knows how to do that. And he knows how to do it so well that it's become his brand, that he doesn't have to lean on the one hit wonders or anything like that. Like, people know what to expect from him. So I don't know if this is like a marketing ploy thing that he's doing right now, which in my opinion, it's in bad taste because people die of pneumonia every day. You know what I mean? But anyways, he's always with this chick, and I'm like, I don't know what it is about this chick, Snapchat filter crying. She's got this face that I'm like, there it is. This is her. The chick's face looks like this all the time. Y'all ever see that? Like, this chick, her face is permanently like this. I don't know what it is. And I'm going off on a tangent, but I have to. She always looks like this. I got to show you a picture. I was like, why does your face permanently look like that? See, there's her face right there. Y'all can see my mouse. And literally, she looks like the Snapchat crying filter on a permanent level. Yeah, she always looks like that all the time. She's always crying all the time. I don't know for any law, like, is it AI? Like, if she permanently put her face in like an AI face like that, Miss Dinger, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you see that snap, you know how kids used to play with those Snapchat filters and it look like they're crying like this? Girl, why does your face look like that permanently? Check it out. Once I saw that, I said, I can't unsee that. Sarah Adams says, see, he was there when Whitney died and Bobby Christina died too. That, you know what? The other day, he was on this show, right? I think it was like the Love and Hip Hop reunion. Now, mind you, before COVID, I was all into the Love and Hip Hop because some of these people are kind of like, the one hit wonders and stuff like that. I was so into it, because that was kind of like the music that I listened to and grew up listening to, right? So, he did a reunion with one of the stars, and Ray J made a joke, a very distasteful joke that I'm like, you do realize how bad this looks on you. He said something to the effect, he told a co-star or a castmate that he was going to drown him in the pool, that it was going to be another Whitney Houston situation. And I sat there and I said, did anybody catch that? Like, he's threatening this person on this reunion, right? And they're going back and forth. And Ray J just nonchalant says something like this: I'm going, you're going to end up like Whitney Houston. Sarah, thank you for the $5. But I'm a believer of people always tell on themselves when they don't mean to tell on themselves. Anyways, listen, it doesn't have to end for Ray J it shouldn't be a wrap in 2027. This man needs to make some lifestyle changes, and he needs to prioritize his children, which he has not for the longest time, I don't think, in my opinion. I think he's full of shit, and I hope if I'm wrong, let me be wrong, and I will apologize for believing any of this shit, for saying that, because I think it's wrong, But I hate the fact that I feel like he's trolling us, and that's pretty effed up because people die of pneumonia all the time. Sometimes they don't even know that they have it, and it's too late. And I'm not cool with that. So if you're trolling, find something else to troll with. But don't put a death date. 2027, it's a wrap. It's ridiculous. Anyways, moving on up, moving out of that. Just had to vent for a little bit. Then you have that one actor from The Blind Side on live support from a fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, this year has been starting with a bang. A bang. Okay. Let me just say that much. All right. Let's get it together. Let's talk about sweet, emphasis on the sweet, Tim Busfield. Melissa Gilbert speaks out after Tim Busfield's release from jail, one step at a time. Okay. So Melissa has returned to social media to some extent. Of course, there's this extraordinarily difficult time that they're all going through, right, as a family, stemming from the child abuse case, SA case, involving her husband, Timothy. So she spoke out on Monday, issuing a statement of gratitude and reflection to the Instagram page of her lifestyle brand, Modern Prairie. She made her Instagram comeback after seemingly deactivating her personal account early this month when allegations against her husband became public. Now, I don't know why people are saying it's public because I don't see it public and I'm going to it. Let's see. Melissa, let's see if we can pull her statement because I'm nosy and I know you guys are nosy and we're kind of, we want to know what's going on. Where's the search bar on Instagram? Okay, Instagram is acting up. Anyways, whatever. So, it says, let's get into this article instead. This season has reminded me very clearly how important it is to slow down, prioritize what truly matters, and allow ourselves the moments of rest. So, mind you, this little investigation thing has been going since 2024. So, they knew that this was something that was looming on them for a couple years, but she had to slow down and prioritize. She says she captioned a photo of herself sitting on a couch, stepping back from the noise, the news, and even our daily responsibilities from time to time to give us peace, to give us space to recharge, reflect, and find our center again. Earlier this month in New Mexico, we know what happened. We know what went down. Okay. According to the complaint, one child actor said Busfield first touched his areas multiple times on the set when he was 7 years old. So she is addressing everything that's happening. The complaint also details a police interview that Busfield, in which he suggested that the boy's mother might have sought revenge on the director for not bringing her kids back for the final season. Now, she says on her statement again that, she unequivocally condemns abuse in all forms and remains committed to values of safety, integrity, and respect. That's what her statement had said. Now, I did not do anything to those little boys. This is what Timothy Busfield says, but they're going to do what they're going to do. They have to investigate what they have to investigate. I guess I want to know where you guys stand with this whole situation. You said she's an old woman and still needs Instagram attention despite her husband, in spite of her husband's currently being investigated for child rape. Well, I think she shut it, to be fair. Listen, we got to be fair, y'all. We have to be fair. She shut down her Instagram because, she kind of had to, whatever she had to do. I mean, I guess that's what you do. But she doesn't stand for any kind of abuse. Now, I will say that I think the thing that makes me a little bit questionable of this whole situation is that you know what you married in terms of the allegations that came about years before she married him. And based on her own statement, she met him before, like she knew of him before she married him. So, mind you, I think it was 96, I think it was 2000, this was before they got married, that she knew that there was allegations and stuff like that. She knew what was up with this man. So I think people have a choice in the matter, whatever that is. She is allowed to marry whoever she wants to and make family whoever she wants to. But then again, that's what she's standing for. And maybe she feels like this man didn't do anything and all of this is a setup, potentially. I'm looking at her Instagram now. It's Modern Prairie. Okay. In 30 minutes. I hope you have the most beautiful day. Okay. These are her stories. And I'm showing it to you guys so you guys can see. I mean, she's showing it. I don't know. Everybody, I guess, is allowed to and entitled to do what they have to do. And this is the picture. This is the statement. Not only, she says, I'm sending you all my love and gratitude during this extraordinarily difficult time, not only for Tim and me and our family, but the collective heaviness so many of us seem to be carrying right now. Add an unexpected storm to the mix, and it can all feel like a bit too much. This season reminds me very clearly of how important it is to slow down, prioritize what truly matters, and allow ourselves a moment of rest, stepping back from the noise. The news and even our daily responsibilities from time to time give us space to recharge, reflect, and find our center again. Thank you truly for the love, patience, and support you continue to show Tim and me. Thank you for helping me to feel safer and more grounded and deeply held by this extraordinary community for women, of women, of women. Look at this, women here at the Modern Prairie. I'll be easing back into things thoughtfully and with care, moving forward one step at a time. More to come and more gratitude and so much gratitude always. Excuse me. Okay, and people support, all right? They're not asking questions, and if they are, they're probably being blocked, okay? This too shall pass. I'm so sorry. And Tim, going through, it seems like Tim has the truth and solid evidence on his side. Stay very strong. This is the crazy part, y'all. We don't know what the solid evidence is, and I think that we have to be very careful. The fact that TMZ released some recordings of the victims, they said one thing and then they changed their mind, isn't proof of anything yet. I think we have to wait. All right. We have to wait. But I guess we'll see. Being a former child star, I question what she possibly been through and what she looked away from. Baby K, you get the star of the day on that comment because just like you said right here, over here, they're not like us. So, denial is a real thing. You said denial is a river in Egypt. But who knows? I don't know what the evidence say. I think that this man is allowed to defend himself. I still will say that, even though I side-eye the situation a little bit more. But, He's allowed to defend himself. We'll see what happens. I'm sure all these celebrities hear rumors about one another, so I'm sure she had some ideas, right, Belen? It makes you wonder what's up. Okay. And like anybody who makes a choice in life, you're allowed to stand with whatever and whoever you want to. The public's allowed to criticize that as well. Isn't that how it typically works? You're allowed to stand with whatever and whoever you want to, and the public is allowed to criticize what that looks like. What does that look like for us to figure out where we stand with that, okay? Yep. Okay. Let me make sure that I get this charging document. Okay, here it is. Shout out to Grizzly True Crime. We're going to move on because here in my share drive, we have the unsealed charging document for the Michael McKee case. Real quick rundown and breakdown. For those that are new to the Michael McKee case, which I suspect some of you guys might not be following, or, because we talk about so many cases, I'm going to give you guys a quick update on it, okay? So, yesterday, the charging document became, I guess, unsealed, all right? So, Michael McKee is 39 years old, and he pled not guilty to two aggravated murder charges and an aggravated burglary charge in Ohio. And this is in connection to a December 30th, 2025 double homicide of his ex-wife, Monique Tepe, 39, and her husband, Dr. Spencer Tepe, 37. Michael appeared remotely from jail for his arraignment and did not speak, and his attorneys waived bond for now. Now, he is charged and he's being held with four counts of aggravated murder and one count of aggravated burglary. And he is now being held in custody in Illinois initially, but now in Franklin, Ohio. So he was extradited as this case moves forward. Now, this is what the details that we have. So recent affidavits and police filings have revealed additional allegations. Very interesting allegations. Michael allegedly threatened to kill his ex, Monique, in the past. Okay. And he had actually made comments about finding her and always being her husband. This is according to a witness statement. So in this circle, like even though they had been apart, she had remarried 5 years, she had already been done with this situation. This man was still fixated with her, even after she remarried 5 years and had 2 children. Okay. That just tells you the heavy hold that, you just never know the kinds of things that these people, when somebody's obsessed, when somebody's stalking you, when somebody's like, whatever that, they could still hold some kind of resentment towards you and they could still hurt you even after years later. Okay. It further says that court filings claims he entered or was near the couple's Columbus homes week before the double homicide while they were away, and there were prior allegations of abuse. Michael McKee has been described by some family members of the victim as emotionally abusive during the marriage. So these were things that were, I guess, found out. It's a really sad situation, I'll have to say that. So let's get into this unsealed. So we have the unsealed charging document complaint, and then we have a charging document. Let's see if this is the one that we're needing to reference for the purposes of this review. That guy was tripping. He said he threatened to buy the house next door so he could be her husband for the rest of her life. Really, FloJo? Like, that's how close he wanted to be with her. This is what I'm saying, you guys. You never know. Like, sometimes you think that is done, is over, but you just never know, man. You never know. Oh, man. Okay. So let's see. This might not be it. This is the charging document. This is the unsealed. Here it is. This is the document that we're looking for. And sorry, it looks a little blurry, but I think that this is as best as we can go. So, affidavit in support of probable cause. All right. Okay. So, this is the affiant, and he says, I have personal knowledge of the facts. He selected that, and he says the summary. On December 30th at about 9:57 a.m., the Columbus police patrol officers were dispatched. Okay, the address is there. To a welfare check on Monique and Dr. Tepe, who had not shown up to work. Officers arrived and found Dr. Tepe and his wife, Monique Tepe, deceased inside, suffering from gunshot wounds. 2 minor children were found inside the home unharmed. And Columbus paramedics responded and pronounced both victims dead at about 11 a.m. Now, the Columbus Police Homicide Unit Team 2 was advised, responded and initiated an investigation. Early on in the investigation, detectives were advised by identifiable friends and family of Monique Tepe that Monique had told them her ex-husband, Dr. Michael D. McKee, had been abusive and had made numerous threats on her life during and after their marriage. A witness told the detectives that Monique Tepe had shared an allegation against Michael McKee of force unwanted S and strangulation. Of force unwanted S and of strangulation. Another unidentifiable witness, so they're keeping these witnesses hush hush, told detectives that Michael had told Monique that he could K her at any time and would find her and buy the house right next to her, that she will always be his wife. This is like heavy, some heavy ass stuff, you guys. Direct threats. People, you know what sucks, guys? Is that, and this is just how the system is set up, right? It's how it is. Even though you're receiving threats and you go and you talk to somebody about it, right? And I know that there's people out there that will manipulate like the system and stuff like that. Please don't, like, there's people out there that do, right? That they will lie and do different things. But even though, even victims that receive these kinds of threats, and I think it was just Monique telling the witnesses that this happened, right? Um, Even when you go and you get protection, you don't always get protection. So I could see a situation where Monique goes and tells an officer or tells somebody and they don't believe her, or they give her pushback or whatever it may be, especially if they're not living in like the same area or the same state. This is way too common, y'all. Way too common. But it's a real thing. I think that, and it's like something has to happen to the person in order for action to be taken place. And granted, like, this was Monique giving this information to her witnesses. I mean, did she ever report this R-ing of her? Anything unwanted, especially when she's strangulated. Like it says right here that Michael forced unwanted S. That would be R-ing. Anything unwanted is an assault. That's R-ing. And of strangulation, that's assault. Was that ever reported to police? I don't know if Monique did that? When did this happen? What's the time frame? Another witness told detectives that Michael had told Monique that he could K her at any time and would find her and buy the house next to her, that she will always be his wife. During the investigation, detectives were able to identify a suspect through neighborhood video surveillance. The suspect was tracked to a vehicle which arrived prior to the homicide and left shortly after the homicide. Video of this vehicle and very distinct features allow detectives to identify both a stolen Ohio license as well as an Arizona license being displayed on it at different times. Further, searches allowed this vehicle to be associated with a past address of Michael McKee, as well as his current work address in Rockford, Illinois. Additional video was obtained and showed McKee in possession of the vehicle prior to and after the homicides. Detectives also recovered video of the suspect entering. Okay, the area address is there on December 6th. December 6th was a couple weeks before the murders, and exiting a few hours later when the Tepes were away. These dates are consistent with video recovered of the silver SUV and are consistent with dates which Michael was not on the schedule at St. Anthony's Hospital. On January 9th, detectives seized the silver SUV bearing the Arizona temp tag from a lot at St. Michael's Hospital in Illinois, where Michael works. Detectives noticed fresh scrape marks on the window where the sticker, which had been on the vehicle prior to the homicides, had been hastily removed. During the time of the homicides, Michael's phone had been left at St. Anthony's Hospital in Illinois and showed no activity for approximately 17 hours from December 29, 2025 until after 12 p.m. December 30th, 2025. More recently, while Monique and Spencer were at the Big Ten championship game in Indiana on December 6th with several other couples, Monique went back to her hotel room early in the second half. When identifiable friends asked Spencer why Monique had left the game, he told them she was upset about something involving her ex-husband and was going back to the hotel. And that was it. I wonder if he had tracking devices on that car too. You said they weren't married for too long. You said their obsession, and there it is. But that's the thing, it's like other people were aware of it, right? Oh my God. That's all it is a piece of paper. I mean, it doesn't really, but even it's like pulling teeth to get that piece of paper, guys. It really is. You said obsessive behavior is super scary. You don't always know the extent that people can go. That's right. It's super scary and you don't know. You don't know. You just don't know the opportunities that people take, you know? He also had stolen plates on the car. There you go. Yeah, if you wanna find someone, you can. He didn't stop till he got her. There you go. Talk about premeditation. Well, but it makes you wonder though, like, did was he tracking them? How did he know that they were gonna be gone? Clearly, I mean, this was all premeditation. He'd been planning this for a while. The man got a silencer, for God's sakes. Like, clearly he didn't wanna wake anybody up, and he didn't wanna be interrupted. He didn't even wanna wake the children up. I mean, silencers aren't like pieces like, they don't really silence. They just muffle the noise a bit. You know what I mean? Hey, Nikki. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button, please, and thank you. Appreciate it. I don't know. I need the coffee to hit. Um, Premeditation for sure. This is why I believe, and I'm a listen, Right, Franny, also much digital evidence to extract and produce in trial, re-victimizing victims, having to listen to the victim is crazy defense, Franny Law says. Um, it's why I believe in document everything. If you're going to, regardless of what the situation is, no matter what, you should always, I'm a believer in documenting everything. And well, part of it too is I'm a social, I'm a social worker. I worked in government for many years. I worked in nonprofit. My undergraduate is in criminology. What do you do when you work in government? And I wrote many court reports. Like this is my jam, right? You document everything. Document everything. That's what you're supposed to do. Document everything. If you're ever going through something like this, it's no different than the lawyer that filed the protection order against the judge. She's being followed, right? She's got, she's documented. This has been years, being followed over 300 times that she was able to track 300 times. Document everything. Everything, everything, everything. That's what you're supposed to do. You said he won't ever feel remorse. I don't think so. When you hear somebody say, "You're my wife forever," like it's almost like he feels like that, like she's property, like she belongs to you. Like the mere fact that she ended that or that she has moved on, that's it. Like you're mine. You will be mine. You'll always be mine type of situation. He probably sent her a pic of her house while she was at the game, but that's why she was upset. Well, the thing is like, she had already had children. She'd moved on. And it does make you wonder what Spencer was thinking too at the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. It makes you wonder about Spencer. You said, I was taking notes when you were going over the stalking case earlier. She was so well organized. Yeah. You have to, I think for me is we just don't take cases like this serious. We really don't until it's like too late. Until somebody's already hurt, somebody's already gone, and things we don't. And for me is like I take stuff like this very, very serious. I'm a believer in that. You got to take this stuff serious. Don't let anybody make you feel some type of way about taking protecting yourself. And it sounds like he was at the house before. Like this is a real thing, yo. Like this is no joke whatsoever. We need to take stuff like this serious. Okay. I want to talk about, we're going to move on. And again, shout out to Grizzly True Crime. They shared the documents. It's always amazing when they share documents, because they make it available for everybody. I really appreciate it as a content creator. So Brian Enton did this little piece right here, and I want to talk about it because he titled this, Reiner's former roommate says Nick hated his parents. Huh. Hated his parents. Let's get into this. Now I want to find the exact time of that because I don't want to go all over the place. I think right here. Let's start right here.
Disturbing is Danny says Nick would go off about his parents throughout the night.
Ooh, okay. So we have a roommate. His name is Danny. And here we go.
That the rehab cost $60,000 a month, which I'm going to talk to a little bit more with my guest in a couple of minutes. He's very complimentary of the Reiners, saying that they did everything for Nick and that they spent literally millions of dollars on his recovery. But what's disturbing is Danny says Nick would go off about his parents throughout the night. They were roommates, and apparently he would stay up in the night talking about his parents, saying, quote, how much he effing hated his parents. Danny says he just really oppressed anger towards the fame. And, quote, I don't know how it is having a father with that level of fame, but regardless of that, Nick had no sense of gratitude, no sense of appreciation.
Ooh, okay, let me stop right here. All right. So, shout out to Brian Enton. All right. Shout out to Brian Enton. Just my opinion, right? So the roommate is speaking out. The roommate is giving his thought process about the fact that, like, you know, his experience with Nick, and Nick wasn't appreciative. Nick, and I get it. I probably would have said the same thing too, right? Because in my mind, I've seen situations like this where it's like, your parents are buying you everything, and you just kind of like, there's no reason for you to be acting this way, type of situation. That's kind of where my mind goes. But the other side to this argument is this: we don't know the basis of that hate. We don't know, right? He could have been providing him everything, and he could have also been, neglectful. Just because you grow up with money doesn't necessarily mean that you're not being neglected. Does that make sense? Like, just because your parents come from it does not mean that you're also not being neglectful or neglected in some way and whatnot. I would agree, Vicky. I feel like it's a little bit speculative, right? Because the roommate is inserting his opinion that he hated his parents. Yes, they paid this, but he wasn't really appreciative. Well, we don't know. We don't know. And maybe that's the divide, right? Because I've seen this happen before. I worked at a treatment center many, many years ago before I worked in government. And you could tell, this treatment center was freaking, it was a residential, very, very expensive, very expensive. And they would send patients from out of state to this treatment center. And typically, that would be around $7,000 to $10,000 a month. Okay. It's money. And in my experience, what I found was that the people that were, being flown in and all this was being paid for, they came from money, and there was a lot of stuff going on in between, but there was always like this, like, what's the word? You come from money, and so then there was this behavioral change, or at least this like entitlement that these people would have because they came from money, that you're catering to. Like, this is supposed to be, I don't know, like the 5 seasons or the 4 seasons. 4 seasons, not 5 seasons. 4 seasons. Like, it's like a resort type of deal, when it's really like a treatment center to address these issues. And typically the people that were there didn't really understand that they had these issues. And so there was always like this conflict. Right. And so it doesn't matter how much money you spend or how much money you're raised in. If you don't understand how neglect looks like in different socioeconomic situations, you're probably always going to be in the mind frame. This guy came from money. What neglect? In comparison to what? To what I've had? What neglect? I ate rice and beans. That was my food every day. This guy's eating this, that, and the other. What neglect? Neglect looks different in various socioeconomic settings. Your parents could have a lot of money, and you could be very neglected emotionally, and it affects you in many ways. Just had to put that out there. That's why I was like, when I heard this from the roommate, I was like, okay, let me go back a little bit, okay?
They spent literally millions of dollars on his recovery. But what's disturbing is Danny says Nick would go off about his parents throughout the night. They were roommates, and apparently he would like stay up in the night talking about his parents, saying, quote, how much he effing hated his parents. Danny says he just really oppressed anger towards the fame. And quote, I don't know how it is having a father with that level of fame, but regardless of that, Nick had no sense of gratitude, no sense of appreciation.
That's how he framed it. No sense of gratitude or appreciation. Joe, and you're right. You're right. That's right. Rice and beans is not neglectful. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like, in comparison, when people make comparisons, this is kind of like the thing that people tend to use. But I'm like, neglect can look different in various socioeconomic situations. You could be rich and be very neglected in that environment. I've seen it happen way too many times. You're entitled and you're rich and you have your basic needs and some met, but you're not, your emotional needs aren't being met. your ability to connect with people isn't being met. And you know what happens when you neglect somebody that way? That's the makings of a sociopath, y'all. It's the truth. When you deny a person that emotional connection, a mother doesn't connect with their child emotionally, a father doesn't. There is that. But you give them everything, cars, money, everything. No reason for you. You were spoiled. You didn't have to do this shit. That's the makings of a sociopath. He just has access to money. That's it. I worked at a treatment center like that when I was in my 20s. No parents ever came. It was heartbreaking. It's a real thing. So that's why you have to kind of know that it's a real thing. It's all about perspective. Yeah. Some of the most emotionally neglected kids I knew were wealthy. Parents are working, they're making their money. And sometimes you become, even for the working class, which is a lot of us here, right? We're working. It's so hard to make time for our kids in this emotional level. I'm too damn tired to hear about what Odin, just thinking out loud, did while they were playing football. And in my mind, my child is telling me about what happened at football. And I'm like, I don't even like football, but you're okay. All right, babe, tell me what's going on. Really? And then I'm supposed to react because there's like a part here that because that's how he knows that I'm connected to that conversation. But I'm so tired. And I'm also preoccupied about work. There's an example of how parents can become emotionally disconnected and neglect their children when you're not present in that conversation. Some people don't see it that way, but it's the truth, right? Anyways. And when kids are growing up, everything is important. Everything. So, yeah, this can happen. Neglect can happen in various ways and formats to the rich and the poor in so many formats.
Was just an effing pompous little punk. He wanted to be out smoking pot, doing pills, doing whatever, and his family just wanted to get him help.
That's the roommate. The roommate said that he was an effing pompous punk. He probably was. I'm not disputing that. Maybe that's the roommate's interpretation. Your dad gave you everything and you just killed him. Potentially, maybe that's what it was. But the roommate, the disconnection, and that's that speculation part that Vicky was talking about here in the chat. If I was, arguing that, that'd be like, well, that's very speculative. Because neglect can look different in socioeconomic situations. We don't know. We don't. Right? Entitlement plus neglect is the perfect prescription for narcissism, period, right here. On one hand, they're told that they're better than others, but their reality doesn't match that emotionally. No, you're so right. You're so right. We've seen it. We've seen it way too many times.
The quote from Danny. Danny says, initially, Nick was welcoming and funny, but that there was a side of him that could just flip. And he says that he saw Nick attack another teen at the facility. And at one point, he even had rage towards him, which is why they didn't remain roommates. Again, that's according to his interview with the Daily Mail. Danny told a story how he said Nick looked like John Travolta's son. And he says that quote really set him off. Apparently, he really didn't like that. He says that Nick tried to get aggressive with him and that it got physical and that a tech actually had to step in at the rehab. And he explained that Nick got in his face and even raised a fist. Danny says he doesn't want to identify the rehab facility, but it was apparently very fancy. Again, $60,000 a month, had daily yoga, massages.
Well, how did that kid make it there? I mean, maybe he had money. Yes. It's also difficult working and making sure you spend quality time with each child equally. So no one feels neglected, no matter if you have money or not. Belen, this is so true, honestly. And I'm so glad you said this. Like I said, people think that neglect is just you're not getting your basic needs met. And that's not at all the case at all. And this is why I tell you guys, it doesn't matter. Kids are kids, man. I used to get in trouble all the time. But don't ever neglect the opportunity for your child, no matter how bad it is, the opportunity to connect with you and tell you what is going on, even though you might not agree with them. And I've been there so many times, and I'm there always. I don't agree with them. And sometimes I just want to shut them off because I'm like, I don't agree with you. Don't do this. But don't. Because that is also very neglectful. And that can also impact their development and their ability to, and the way that they see you and the way that they frame you. Hans, is it Verbot? Hans House Verbot. House Verbot or Haus Verbot? The weird thing is that Nick didn't seem emotionally neglected like most rich kids are. I would have agreed with this statement up until like I feel like you kind of have to leave that for Nick to speak, right? When they did that little presser, when that movie that they did together was released, I thought that was a very interesting telling point in that relationship, right? Because to me, it seemed that Rob Reiner, he said the right things in that interview. We were listening to professionals because, the degrees that they had on their walls. We stopped listening. We felt that was, they could tell us what to do best in that situation. They could tell us. True. Right? True. But it also told me that there was something there. I mean, clearly what they were doing was not working. And clearly whoever they were seeing was not working. So they got to a point where they just couldn't figure it out. But I think that in order to assess whether a child is emotionally neglected, you kind of have to get into the peer groups and figure out what they say, how they feel like, they saw the situation as an outsider. When somebody's doing an assessment on a person, like say that if I get a psych eval done or somebody does a psych eval, typically it's not just you that they're evaluating, but they're also kind of like, spreading these assessments to those people around you to figure out, to get a little bit about how you are as a person or how other people see you and perceive you. And then based on those answers, there's like a scale or there's data that's produced off of that. I don't know if I necessarily believe that there's probably more to this emotionally neglected part. And it might have not happened in his later life. The emotional neglect could have happened in his childhood years. And it just kind of happened that way, right? And it just progressed. And then, we see this situation now that he's an adult. But that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So I don't know. I feel like we could definitely push back on that because we really don't know.
Private chefs. And he says that Nick told him things that, quote, threw him the wrong way. And this part is really interesting. Danny says that he was upset by Nick's attitude because he didn't seem to appreciate how much his parents cared for him. And he only had really nice things to say about Rob and Michelle. He says that Rob and Michelle genuinely cared for Nick, would do anything for him to get better. He said the parents of these children with money, they usually are not truly involved in wanting to help their kids or do that. Many of them just hire like a helping hand, basically a handler, if you will. Lots of kids in there had absent parents who relied on nannies, but Rob and Michelle were there for every single family group, Danny says. They were there for every therapy session.
Now, I don't know how old Nick was at this time. Okay. So let's make sure we put that out there. Nick could have been in his 20s and all of this was happening. I'm kind of curious to know, was he a roommate when he was like younger? I didn't hear that part, like age wise. But Chico, you bring up a good question here. And this is where I push back on this. And even Joe said it, right? Joe said that she worked at a treatment center and you understand what neglect looks like in various different socioeconomic situations. So let me give you an example, okay? An example, I'm a billionaire. I notice that my kid is struggling, all right? I pay for the rehab. There you go. That should show that I care about my child and I want them to get better, right? I pay for the rehab. That should be it, right? But then the therapist says, hey, we really need you at these therapy meetings. Guys, I'm filming a movie. I don't have time for this. Did he say 15? I missed the age. Thank you. I'm filming a movie. I got to go travel. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to go to these therapy sessions. Let me go send the wife, or let me go send this person instead. Or just, let's do a phone call or Zoom. I don't have time to be there, right? To get to that point. I did the basics. I did what I had to do to make sure that my kid addresses issues. Everything else in between, I mean, they got to figure it out. I put the money in there. That's it. Where I'm getting at is that you can spend so much money and quote unquote put your kid in treatment center and do what they have to do. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is that just because that's what they did, even if they showed up to every session, I'm just giving you an example. Maybe they did. I don't know. It doesn't take away from the fact that there could have been some emotional neglectfulness from that made him feel like he couldn't connect to his parents. That could have been the situation. We just don't know. We don't know. Now, the perception that the roommate is saying is like, I was his roommate. Okay. This is what it was. He was a pompous. I can believe that. I definitely could believe that he was very pompous. I can believe all of that. And that, his parents put in a lot of money, but we don't know exactly the root of that neglectful aspect, what made the situation the way that it was. People don't just decide one day to off their parents. It doesn't unless you're talking about other factors like drug induced this, mental health this, and stuff like that. So I can see this in various ways. And where I'm getting that is neglect can look like it can look very differently in various socioeconomic situations. You could be poor as hell, poor. And sometimes because you're struggling, you're trying to make ends meet, whatever it may be. It's very hard to emotionally connect with your kids when you constantly have to worry about work, paying the bills, feeding your children. It looks different. For a rich person, for somebody who's got access to a lot of resources, neglect is going to look different. That's the part that I'm trying to get at. Is like, we don't really know. I need to see what exactly happened. Now, could Nick have been a complete sociopath and did all this and he just an asshole and pompous and wasn't very deserving? Could very well be the case. Could this have been unwarranted? Could Rob Reiner and Michelle have been such dedicated parents that they made sure that this and that and the other? I can believe that. I could. We just don't know what all of that looked like. You said what is pompous to him may not have been pompous in Nick's world. That's the piece that I'm getting at. Nick grew up in Hollywood. Lifestyle. Pompous may mean something totally different to him. Yeah. Do you think that therapists were able to tell the parents that he felt neglected by them? Might be hard to tell someone with their kind of power. It doesn't change that Nick is a jerk, but yeah, I mean, all kinds of things could be true at this point. We just don't know. Where I'm getting at is that neglect, connection to your child looks different in so many ways. And then sometimes people, because they didn't address the issues earlier on, they try to address them later on as adults, right? It's a little bit too late after that. Once your child is an adult, I mean, what can you control? You said it was 15. Hold up. Let me make sure. Somebody said it was, I didn't hear 15. Oh, hold up. Here it is. Yes, you're right. I missed it because I did go fast on this one. He was Nick's roommate at the age of 15. So at the age of 15, he was in this rehab center with this other kid, right? And they were roommates. It's interesting. Still a teenager.
Says that he was in rehab with Nick Reiner. Danny Svilar says he shared a room with Nick Reiner at a luxury rehab in Malibu, California, when they were both 15 years old.
There you go.
This is according to the Daily Mail.
I missed that part, right? So there's that. Either way, emotional neglect would not be a rationale for murder. Not excusing it at all. Everyone has some sort of childhood circumstances that deals with that. Absolutely. Not excuse. I do not think that there's a rationale. I mean, there are so many of us that have been emotionally neglected and don't go do stupid things like that, right? Not excusing the behavior. What I'm saying is that the opinion of the roommate, not to say that it's not valid, but it's very speculative. We don't know what was going on at all. You know, what is the defense if it's going to be insanity? Well, what led? What happened? What happened, right? Just one day decided to off his parents? Just like that, you know? Definitely. We don't know all the factors. We don't. Hold on now. Let me go a little bit over here. Hold up.
We all had our gripes with our parents, but at the end of the day, we were grateful for what we had. Him.
See, and again, it's like, you know, we don't like our parents. Now, this guy right here, who was his roommate, who I guess spoke to the Daily Mail, again, I was like, okay, he hated his parents. At 15, I don't know too many teenagers that love their parents. I mean, they do, but not enough to, I don't know. I guess keep that in mind.
Are the reason for a lot of his problems, and that boiled down to fame. That is what Nick apparently said. Danny said they just wanted him to do well, and he did not want to be well. And the hatred is just one thing that really got to me. All of us in there, we all had our gripes with our parents, but at the end of the day, we were grateful for what we had. Him, on the other hand, not so much. I'm joined now by Maureen O'Connell, our retired FBI.
Thoughts, opinions. You said he had his issues with connection. That in itself could have him perceiving his parents didn't care or neglect. He felt abandoned, possibly. But again, that doesn't excuse the crime if he, you know, again, what this looks like ultimately. You said my mother beat me every day, physically and emotionally and mentally. I never ever thought of taking her out. Yeah, there you go. Some of us come from very difficult home environments, but we never really think about hurting them. So it does make you wonder, well, what snapped? What happened? You said my parents connected differently with me than my brother. Both sides have to be able to work on a relationship. Yeah. A lot of people hated their parents and then leave as soon as they physically can. Yeah. And yet Nick was there. He depended on his parents, it sounded like, because it didn't seem like what have we heard from Nick Reiner's past? Like, it wasn't like he had like a working Hollywood resume or what prospects. I think that dad tried to get him like an internship. That didn't work out. I mean, it wasn't like people weren't helping him. But you're right. I've noticed this too. Sometimes, parents, kids that have been or as adults, we tend to get away and we tend to deal with stuff and we're like, we're done with this. We get ourselves at that situation. That wasn't the case here. And the parents didn't close the door from helping him. It doesn't sound like that. What I have heard is that they were worried and they were scared and they didn't really know what to do. And they were at their wits' end. Hold up, y'all. Sorry, I got the babysitter calling me. That person is making a diagnosis when he is not qualified. Those are his assumptions and perceptions. At 15, he's making a statement. Ooh, it's a heavy statement. I'll say that. Very speculative. I'll say that. But interesting. I just don't know. I don't know what we can make of that quite yet, if you know what I mean. Trying to rationalize when people murder is a slippery slope. Yeah, it's very true. That's why motive is not necessary in most states. Very true. Very true. But I agree. Again, I guess we'll see what happens. I'm sure people are going to be interviewed. I'm sure people are going to be like, probed. Things will come up. I'm sure they will. You said the interview was opinion based. I do think the interview was opinion based. His experience. He said he never went to college, but he could have worked some low paying job and got an apartment to get away from them. It's true. We don't understand. We'll never understand. You know what I mean? Like it's just like what you said right here about rationalizing. It's kind of hard to rationalize someone's decisions, right? Ultimately, what we can't agree on, and because neglect is also behavior based, right? Actions and behaviors. We don't know what that looked like either, right? We don't know. We don't know why people do what the things that they do. A lot of this is abnormal psychology, right? And so getting into the mind of that, why, like some people like Tina here share, you know, she went through this, that, and the other. She didn't think of doing this. She just left. People do this. People leave situations without harming the person that hurt them, right? And then you have the people that not only harm the person that hurt them, but, you know, do the most. Like, you always have pockets, and that's why it's so hard to just say this is what it is, because we don't know. We need to get a really thorough assessment of those things. And I agree. Two things can be true at the same time. But anyways, y'all, you said, well, I was so happy to spend my lunch break with y'all, spend up my shift. Oh, well, thank you. All right, my friends, I'm going to let you go because I got to go tend to baby bunny. I got to run and go and do some errands. Sarah, thank you so much for supporting the stream today. Very much appreciate you. Thank you. Guys, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. It is very easy. Hit the like button, share, support. Thank you. Thank you. You said the fact that they loved him so much and they kept him around makes me sad. I think that they really wanted to see some behavioral change. I just don't think that they realize how bad things had gotten. I agree. Thank you, Flojo. I'm going to let you guys go. Hit the like button, guys, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. And let me know your opinions in the chat. Bye, guys.